Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna be reacting to
25 Greek dishes to try.
ooh.
Food plus drink in Greece.
Okay.
Yes, or hello. Today's video is all about Greek food, and we are in the center of Athens. This is Hadrian's Arch behind me, an archaeological dig
No.
to my back, and we are gonna get stuck in straight away. We're gonna go get some breakfast, and I'll tell you all about the traditional pastries that the Greeks.
Is she like from here, or she's visiting?
She sounds British.
Oh.
Have you seen Greek breakfast? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's interesting. I want to see Greek breakfast.
Love. There are two important things you should know about Greek pastries. Number one, they are made with phyllo dough. Number two, after spending 2 weeks in the country, I no longer fit into my stretchy pads. Probably the most famous Greek pastry out there is the spanakopita, which is phyllo pastry stuffed full of spinach.
Whoosh!
They say
Whoosh!
no, that's not possible. They say that's like the Mediterranean
That's a
Mediterranean diet.
lie. It's a
supposed to make you
lie.
skinny.
No, it's not. It's a lie. If you eat a lot, you're going to get fat.
No, she can't
Yes.
tell me that.
Sometimes there's feta cheese inside, or leaks, especially in the rural parts of
looks
Greece.
so good.
That's like the biggest lie when people say, "Oh, I go to Europe, I eat so much and I lose weight." No, motherfucker. If you lose weight, probably because you're walking a lot. If you're just eating, you're gonna get fat.
There's one more pastry that I want to introduce you to because I only got to learn about it on this trip, and I should mention I am not Greek, but this is probably my 10th trip to Greece. I used to come here a lot as a child growing up, and I fell in love with it so much that even as an
Maybe her parents are Greek, but she says she's not Greek. She would identify as Greek if her parents were Greek.
adult, I just can't keep away. And on this particular trip, as I mentioned, I am here for
That
2
sandwich
weeks.
does
So
look interesting,
a lot
though.
of time for
I'm
research.
jealous.
And
Looks
the
pretty
pastry
good.
that I got to know is called bougatsa, and it comes from the north
bougatsa?
of Greece. It specifically comes from an area called
what a
Macedonia, not to be confused with nearby North Macedonia, which is a country, and only recently changed its name after many years of kind of arguing about who got to call themselves what. Anyway, in this Greek Macedonia, you will
Okay,
find
so
a town
focus.
called Seres. In the 20th century, during the Ottoman Empire, many Greek origin refugees came back to their native country, and as they did that, they brought with
I'm just confused. We're supposed to do 25 food in 12 minutes, and we're talking about history now. How are we gonna get through the
Our girl
food?
is
them the
focusing. She's trying to
bougatsa. We're going to
focus.
move on, but I just want to show you where I have been recording. Athens. There's literally history every step of the way, and it's an absolutely unbelievable city. The final type of pastry I want to introduce you to is called kolori. It's these sesame crusted circles
seen
of
that.
dough that are sold by street vendors all over big cities.
But that's breakfast? It's not breakfast.
No, I don't know what
understand
that
you.
is.
Why did you bring a breakfast? It's just in general, or?
Because she mentioned she's gonna go get breakfast or something, and then I'm saying, "Oh, we haven't seen."
Oh.
But anyway, this caloric one, I don't know. Based on what we've seen, not the most interesting
it looked
dish.
hard,
It looked
like-
hard,
like-
yeah. Looked
you
like a
pick
hard
it up and you
pretzel.
tap it.
Yeah, like I could hit you on the head.
Yeah.
You'll find them in bakeries.
Like a self-defense
basically,
weapon.
miss them.
Then again,
and
the
if they
person
seem familiar
think
and
they
you
got
have
it
ever
from a
visited
place
Turkey,
that-
you might know
that it
them by
wasn't so
another name,
fresh.
and that name is
That's what they
simit.
said,
That's
yeah.
because kalori/simit are another Ottoman dish. Now, before we turn our thoughts to some proper Greek dishes, let's talk about a really popular topic in this country, which is coffee. There are 3 specific types of Greek coffee I want to introduce you to. And by the way, I also want to mention that that is the Acropolis Museum behind me, which contains some of the most precious and valuable artifacts of this country. Because Greece is a pretty hot country, you probably won't be surprised to hear that all 3 of these coffee types are iced coffee. The first is
What?
called frappe, and it was
thought
only
that was
invented
like a-
fairly recently in
An
1950s.
American thing.
Iced coffee.
Yeah. I thought that was frowned upon,
I
honestly.
I drank it in Lithuania, but
Oh,
it
iced
definitely
coffee?
it was in like a Starbucks type restaurant. So it was,
Yeah.
to me, it was American. Yeah,
I feel like I haven't had iced coffee until college. I was so used
I
to
like
just
iced
coffee
coffee,
hot.
but at home I drink warm.
7 during an international trade conference in the northern town of Thessaloniki. But now it is so popular that you will struggle to find a
I
place
feel like
that
this
doesn't
video is a little chaotic. I don't. Where's the food?
have frappe on its menu. To prepare a tall glass of frappe, all you need is instant coffee,
Oh,
water,
it's
ice cubes,
blended.
and sugar. Then you just pop them in a shaker and blend furiously until you get a foam-covered iced coffee drink. But obviously not everyone likes instant coffee, and this is where the other 2 types come in. Number 1 is cappuccino freddo, which is an iced cappuccino, and number 2 is an iced espresso or espresso freddo. Now, if you want
I
to be
don't
cool and try
believe
to order
people
in Greek,
are just
here's how you
having
can do it.
the iced
Say the name of your
coffee.
coffee, for example.
Well, it's a war. Well, she said
don't
she's like in
know.
Thessaloniki or something. So Northern Greece, okay, maybe it's colder, but in the south Greece it's hot, so you want the
I feel
cold
like
drink.
iced coffee don't hit the same as hot coffee.
It hits just hard.
No, it doesn't. It's like
Cappuccino
a,
Freddo.
what do you call it? Like a
Paracalo.
milkshake.
Paracalo means please, you're just being polite. After this, you will most likely be asked about your sugar levels, sachari, to which you have 3 potential answers. Number 1, if you're a bit hardcore and you want your coffee plain and unsweetened, you say scheddo. Okay, scheddo. Number 2, you're just a regular person. You're a normal person and
Maybe
you want
her
medium
parents
sugar.
are
You
Greek.
say
She
metrio.
knows a lot.
Number 3,
But she's
third
been like 10 times.
She
like,
knows a lot, and I feel like her pronunciation sounds solid to me. I mean, you guys can tell me better, but sounds like she's pronouncing is right.
option is you are me and you are probably a psychopath
These are
and
words
you
I
want
could
your
say
coffee
too.
unbelievably sweet.
Excuse
that is when you say
me.
this
This
word,
is-
glico, which means sweet.
I can say, Kiliko.
Slash I'm a psychopath slash deport me
too
now.
much credit.
It doesn't mean the latter too,
Relax.
though. Okay, let's keep on walking. Now that is coffee down, and we are going to move on to proper Greek
Now, when
food,
she goes
starting
into
with
the
the
words
Greek
that
salad.
are
A Greek
3,
salad
4,
is
5
genuinely
syllables.
very Greek, by which I mean that you will find it all over the country. You will find it under a different name on Greek menus, which is choriatiki. But if you say Greek salad, virtually everyone will understand you.
Pronounce that?
I was waiting for you to ask me too.
No, that's not what she said.
She has many times to do it again. Do it again.
So what can you pronounce it? Choriatiki. Choriatiki.
K. You say key? K.
Choriatiki.
Okay, have her say it. 'Cause-
Different name on Greek menus, which is choriatiki. But if you say
Oh,
Greek
I didn't hear that.
So what did you hear?
I heard the C.
salad,
Put it
virtually
back.
everyone will understand you. Which is one point that I should raise. I know I just told you how to
I don't think I would
order
order
coffee
hood
in
cakes,
Greek.
like-
but
Order
you know
again?
what I mean.
You definitely wouldn't order
Anyway, participating in
I
tourism
know
in Greece,
what to
and
say
that
when
is
I'm
a
going
huge
to order.
percentage of
That's
the
that.
population
Immediately,
speaks
yes.
very good English. At its most basic, Greek salad contains tomatoes, onions, cucumbers, feta cheese, and olives, typically from Kalamata. And sometimes you will find funky additions like green peppers, which are quite common in the Cycladic islands like Santorini, which is very famous. You might find caper leaves. In Thessaloniki, I went to a fancy restaurant and I got served my Greek salad with something called sea fennel as well, which is a thing I'd never had before, and it's absolutely delicious. My recommendation is when you're ordering in Greece, always get a salad. It makes your meal more colorful, it makes it healthier, and if you're anything like me and you want to try the really traditional stuff, Greek food isn't necessarily that healthy. Now, I know there's a lot of emphasis put on veg and fish and stuff like that in the Mediterranean diet, but there's a lot of pastry, there's a lot of fried food, there's a lot of oil, not actually that healthy. Before we move on to our next meal, this sandwich shop called Guarantee. It's so loud here. This sandwich shop called Guarantee is absolutely spectacular. If you find yourself in Athens, and more specifically in the neighborhood of Kokaki, then definitely give it a go. Right, I have managed to find a relatively quiet street, so I hope you enjoyed this video because we're going to stick around for a while. And we're going to talk about our next 2 dishes, which are souvlaki and gyros, or gyro, as some people pronounce it.
Childhood shouldn't be spoiled by
Gyros.
bedwetting. Good nights offer better leak protection versus leading train pan.
Erroneously. Right, these are both absolute staples of Greek street food, but there are differences. Gyros is made from meat cooked on a vertical spit. It came to Greece during the 19th century after immigrants from Anatolia and the Middle East in general began preparing their version of kebab in the region. Over time, the dish took on a traditional Greek character, and that is why typically you will find pork or chicken gyros in Greece, whereas kebab is traditionally made
How
with
many
beef or
foods
lamb.
did
That
she
is
tell us
because
it
pork
was?
She said 25 in the title, but I feel like when all those different salads that she showed, that's like 1 food each.
Oh,
is not
wow.
considered healthy.
And the coffees, we saw 3 different
Wow,
kinds of coffees. I think
wow,
that's 3
wow.
foods. Yeah. That's what I'm starting to see.
in the
Yeah.
majority countries. As you can see here, gyros is typically served stuffed in a pita bread along with tomatoes, sliced onions, fried potatoes, and tzatziki. As for souvlaki, you'll often find it served in a similar manner when it comes to street food restaurants, but if you're in a traditional sit-down restaurant, you'll usually just get a skewer of meat, and this is similar to dishes known as shish kebab, or for Russian speakers, shashlik. And yeah, these are pretty much the same thing, and that is because they are all Ottoman dishes. I won't go on a long historical tangent.
Well, for us, it's a metal skewer, but yeah, shashlik, same thing.
But most of the areas within Greece's present-day borders were at some point part of the Ottoman Empire. During my visit, Greece was actually celebrating 200 years since the revolution of 1821. This revolution was followed by the Greek War of Independence from 1821 to 1829, which was fought to free Greece from 4 centuries of Ottoman occupation. As a result of it, Greece was recognized as an independent state under what is known as the London Protocol of February 1830. I just mentioned that gyros and souvlaki are often served with something called tzatziki, but I should probably explain what that is. It is a yogurt-based
Really?
dish
That's
that
a separate
contains
dish?
grated
That would be a
cucumber,
separate
garlic,
dish.
salt,
Wow.
olive oil, and herbs like dill or mint. Tzatziki can be served as a cold appetizer or meze, or as a side dish with any main meal. Similarly, here's another dip you should try. It's called tiro kafteri, and it is usually described as a spicy cheese dip. It usually contains feta, hot peppers, olive oil, lemon juice or vinegar, and garlic. You can eat it with
That sounds good.
Maybe she's not Greek because based on the accent, it would be tiro kafteri. That's how I would say it. She said tiro kafteri.
bread, or wait till the hot dishes come out and eat it alongside them. Next up, we've got dolma, an entire family of rice-stuffed Ottoman dishes. The clip that I'm showing you here is actually dolma made by a Kurdish Iraqi lady, but this is just to illustrate how similar they are. Here in Greece, the word dolma or dolmades is used specifically to describe stuffed vine leaves, while the rest of the stuffed vegetables are called gemista, but without wanting to be controversial, they are pretty much the same thing. You use the same rice mixture to stuff all of them. Next up, we've got saganaki, another family of dishes, this time prepared in a small frying pan. The best known is probably fried cheese saganaki, but you can also often find shrimp or mussels. Next up, we've got pasticcio, a layered dish made with ground meat and bechamel sauce, most closely resembling lasagna. And that is no accident. Many Greek dishes show Italian influence. Many parts of the country were under Venetian and Genoese rule from the 13th to the
What's it called? Why does it start with an M? Start with an M. It's the one where you take like eggplant, potato, zucchini, you put some meat in it and some bechamel sauce.
Bugata?
No. When you say it, I don't know you're saying something correct.
18th century. Moussaka is a similar layered dish
Moussaka,
which
there
contains
you go.
aubergines
Starts
and
to
once again
end.
bechamel sauce. And then there's fava porridge, beans blended with oil and lemon. Sounds basic, but it's incredible. Next, there are keftedes, which in their simplest form are basically just fried meatballs with some spices and sometimes breadcrumbs mixed in. If the name sounds familiar, it's probably because they're a lot like kofta. The word comes from Persian kufte, meaning pounded meat. I personally like these meatballs.
But she started speeding up through these because we started slow with the history lesson. Now we're
Yeah.
just running through them.
But I love the kind stuffed with feta cheese because, duh, cheese. But if you are slowly getting sick of all the cheese and feta-based dishes, then don't worry, our next one doesn't contain any, because the next one is seafood. You can just head to a seafood market and pick out the exact
I
fish
feel like
you
you don't
want,
see
and then
a
have
lot
it
of
cooked at a local
seafood.
restaurant. There are
Considering,
oyster
yeah, that they're, you know, like a country on the water when we
water.
do, we have seen a couple, but not like overwhelmingly.
bars, basically any
Definitely
seafood
we
that
see
you can
more
think of, you
cheese
can
and,
find in
like,
Greece.
goat
And
and meats.
My personal favorite is the octopus. I know it sounds a bit odd, but it's delicious, trust me. All right, we're about to move on to the drinks, but first let me talk you through two of my favorite sweet dishes here in Greece. Number one is Greek yogurt. Have you heard of it? Of course you have. It is probably the most famous variety of strained yogurt in the world, but that doesn't mean it's the only one. You can actually find strained yogurt all over the world. In the Middle East, you will find labne.
Sophia
In faraway
Vergara, she
Iceland,
likes this one Greek yogurt from Greece. She said, anyone know how to get this in the States?
here.
They
But
said,
Greece is definitely most
"No."
famous for this product, and what can I say? They do it very well. Now, let's talk about my favorite sweet dish in Greece and what used to be one of the most popular sweet dishes in the entire Ottoman Empire. It is baklava, and it actually predates the Ottoman Empire, but it's unclear where it originated from. What is clear, however, is that it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, she's not Greek,
It
she's
is
not
basically a
pronouncing the
layered
accents
pastry
right.
dessert made with filo pastry filled with chopped
Wow.
nuts and sweetened with syrup or honey. I realize it looks incredibly complicated, but I actually had a go at making it myself once, and it's not that hard
Wow.
if you use store-bought pastry. It basically just
Oh.
requires a lot of time, but not that much effort. Okay, one final type of
That's
dessert.
easy.
Free
Yeah,
dessert.
we don't do
In
store-bought
Greece, this is
pastry. We
called
make it
But she
ourselves.
made
free
it.
dessert or drink you get at the end of your meal.
Not pastry, store-made dough. Yeah, trying to make it ourselves.
My favorite is the sticky orange cake you see here, but I
That looks
also really like
good.
mastiha, which is a liqueur seasoned with mastic, a pine-flavored tree resin, also used in cosmetics.
My Stiha, remember when we did that island?
Yeah,
That's
the
what-
sap.
Yes, the sap. That's what it is.
Retsina, a famous
Right,
Greek white
yes,
wine, is
the
also
care.
made with resin.
I don't
and
remember
its
the
production dates
island
back
name,
at
but
least
that's what it is.
2,000 years. The addition of resin is thought to originate from the practice of sealing wine amphorae with resin in ancient times. Our final two drinks are Greek spirits you'll find on every menu. Tsipora was created by a group of 14th century monks on Mount Athos. One version of it was flavored with anise, and this eventually turned into ouzo. Tsipora can also contain anise, but it's always made with grapes, while ouzo can be distilled with any neutral spirit. Honest thoughts on Tsipora. Not very nice. It is a very strong 40% spirit, so drinking it on its own is a little challenging. Fine, I may not love Tsipora, but I did enjoy all the other 24 items on this list. Have you tried any? Let me know, and see you next Friday.
I don't
Okay.
remember if it was 25.
I didn't keep count, but yeah, we ran through them towards the end.
guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.